withstanding the other team's best early punch instead of throwing the first 2, 3, 4 punches? What does it say about your team that they can come out against a desperate opponent and make this kind of statement?
That was a solid, mature, professional approach. There's a lot of pent-up stuff here. And we're getting closer, but we still have to finish this off. But certainly the approach, and you can tell by just the morning session how much it means to everybody. But then you have to prove it and do it on the wood. And they did. Boston did come out, but we were able to get the game on our terms and sustain it, even through some of the runs in the first half and early in the third quarter.
They sent more doubles at Jimmy today. What did you like about the way you guys handled that and maybe generate open looks off that?
Yeah, there was one turnover in the first half, but look, we've been dealing with this, for a little bit, not just in the postseason, but there were a handful of key games going down the stretch where teams were committed to try to take the ball out of his hands. And so that gave us some things to work on, during the regular season. And then we handled it much better after that one turnover. We just got a little bit more organized. The spacing was much better. And then the plays out of the trap, guys were assertive on the catch. But again, if we didn't have those 5 games during the regular season, where we came in the next day and we're really working on it, watching film on it, just getting all on the same page about it, that it could be different by the time we get to the postseason. And then last series, obviously it was New York. They were pretty committed to that, so at least it was at the front of our mind.
Erik, when you talk about the pent-up stuff you just referred to, is that still residual from the regular season? Is that just because you're so close to getting to where you want to go? Is it?
You can probably, you can probably fill in the blanks from that, but we have respect, deep respect, for Boston, and everything that we went through previously, and some of the emotions are coming out, but I like that, and then we're just going to direct us and keep on focusing on the task at hand, and we'll decompress tomorrow, but we'll really get our minds right to finish this thing off.
You've been very consistent since March, saying how much you liked the direction the offense was taking. And even if the threes felt like make or miss, what have you liked so much about the offense in the postseason?
Well, I like the just the work, during the last 3 months of the season. I mean, it really was all season long, but the intention of coming in after really frustrating losses, watching film, working at it, being intentional, getting on the same page, over-communicating it. This is not working, this is working. Let's get to what's working more. And everybody just pouring into that process. Those are gratifying experiences, particularly when, you're losing games and you're getting criticized for it. But you're still able to just come together and try to get it right. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you fall prey to the criticism and it can go sideways. But this group showed, a resilience to try to get it right. And some of those tough lessons, during the regular season where we were losing games because of that, we were getting better from that.
How important has Gabe's pull-up shooting been, specifically during this playoff run, between the step-back threes coming off the screen?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not just the pull-up. It's just his assertiveness and aggressiveness and reading the game. I thought he had as much of an impact and put his fingerprints on the win in Game 2 as he did tonight. One of the games he had 4 points. Another game he had 29. And he has that emotional stability to, he sees guys like Jimmy and Bam, who are the perfect role models, coming in as a young player, that it's about impacting winning. And sometimes it's about constantly making the right play and doing it on both ends of the court. That's tough to do as a young player because so much is celebrated just about that last number on the box score. But we do need, since Tyler and Vic are out, we do need Gabe scoring. Or we need his, I don't want to say that, we need his assertiveness, we need his aggressiveness, we need him putting his eyes on the rim and then making the right play. And everybody wants him to do that. The same thing with Caleb. We want those guys every single time down the floor to be aggressive. It can't just be Jimmy and Bam. Now, they're doing, the big muscle work, but you need a lot of guys contributing. And we all love that Nambi version. I've seen that one. And there will be times where we do need that one. When he's Nambi, he can be special too.
You've talked over the years about the Duncan Bam handoff connection, but just seeing what it's evolved into with the back cutting, with the lob to Bam today, with all the different things they're able to do, just what have you seen it evolve into from that original handoff hub?
Yeah, it's like 5 years of just Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hour rule. This is 10,000 hours of drilling with those two guys a long time ago, forever. And initially it was all dribble handoffs, that kind of trigger. Then we really needed Bam to be also scorer. Then we needed Duncan to be able to put the ball on the floor, to be able to back cut and all that stuff, and then try to connect that and get everybody synergistic. And that takes some time, when both guys are trying to develop new parts of their game. But this is the constant evolution of two guys trying to get it right. And knowing that there has to be improvement in that two-man action. But when both guys are a threat and both guys can just read the defense and both guys are not just predetermining, that's when it's at its best.
So you talked so much recently about how important the regular season was and how important playing in all those close games were to get you all to this point. But why is nobody surprised that you all have been able to maintain the level you have in the postseason?
Not sure, and we don't really care. If people don't really want to pay attention to what happened in the regular season, we're not going to make excuses for it. We just had to deal with a lot this year, and I think that beauty in the struggle of not making excuses for it, not collapsing your spirit, because it got tough. There's nothing easy about it, and there can be a beauty in that. You can get better from that. But we never felt that we were far off from where we were last year. So it is what it is. But this has been one of the, the most interesting and gratifying regular seasons. I'm not talking about the postseasons, but just to be able to go through that struggle together and come out of it with a group that was pure of intention and then trying to get better and then see it play out in the playoffs, that's ultimately what you would love a regular season to do for you.
Yes, well, you mentioned it can't just be Jimmy and Bam. How gratifying is it to see in a game this important that it was Caleb and Gabe and Duncan stepping up the way they did, when, in the game that you knew that it was going to be very important?
Yeah, and Jimmy and Bam are both fueling that. They're just infusing those guys with confidence. In all the moments of truth, Jimmy is going to put his will on the game. And that's what everybody wants from him. And the same thing goes for Bam. The beauty of that relationship is they both know at this point how special and unique that partnership is. As a head coach, I love seeing that. They both see it in each other. But then they also know that they have to impact everybody else on the roster. And we talk about it all the time. You want to breathe life into other guys and ultimately enjoy someone else's success. But that takes great emotional stability. You know, there's a lot of pressure and voices and noise, coming at you from a lot of different ways. But those guys get it. And you're seeing, some of the role players, really grow and be able to expand their games. That only happens if your star players really want that.
Last question. Erik, how's Kevin's ankle?
Yeah, we'll find out. He says he's fine. He was a little bit scared about it. He said he probably could have gone in the second half, but we just wanted to reevaluate it. We're up 15, and I was like, all right, let's just make sure we know what's going on. That's where I'm going right now, is to meet with the trainers and just find out exactly what it is. I don't even know if it's his ankle, at this point. He was just, how he is. He's a tough veteran guy. He said he was fine. So we'll see tomorrow. Okay, thank you.